Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So I'm very thankful to all of you who are here, who made it to our meeting this evening of the York NAACP. Please also be reminded that our meetings are every fourth Tuesday at 6:30 at Crispus Attucks here at 605 South Duke Street. So hopefully we'll also see you in May. We, as you see, are videotaping. The plan for today, because these candidates were so gracious to respond to our last-minute requests, the plan for today is that they each would give about a 5-minute presentation. And I did ask them to consider the issues that are important to us as an organization. So if you have a pressing question, because we weren't really going to go back question and answer, but if you do have a pressing question at the end of, say for instance, the 10th Congressional District candidates, then raise your hand so we'll know. But otherwise, what we were thinking is this was a meet and greet. There's some snacks over to my right. Please help yourself too. But after they give their stump speeches, that you can have some personal interaction with these candidates. Because sometimes what they say at the podium doesn't always show who they are as a person. And one of the things that I absolutely know is you're putting people in those positions and you need to know who they are. And know whether or not they have your interests at heart, whether or not they will be serving you or some other interests. So we want you to vote. And we want you to be informed voters, because we understand that the more you know, the more willing you are to go out to vote and speak to others about voting.
Good evening, everyone. Want to introduce myself. My name is Michael Wascovich. I'm a council member for Helen Borough and the current Democratic candidate for PA 47 House. I'd like to take a few moments to introduce myself to you who don't know or aren't familiar with me. I'm a lifelong Pennsylvanian, born in Du Bois, and for the past 12 years I've been living in York. I'm the last of 8 brothers and sisters, so I come from a very large family, 5 sisters, 2 brothers. We didn't always have it easy growing up. We came from a working poor family, and at one point in my life, our family was homeless. It was for a short time, but it does take a toll on you if you've ever had that ever happen to you, and you'll never forget it. It was all because of the huge tax burdens that have facing everyday Pennsylvanians. During my childhood, my family relied on various social programs to help us survive. Those same programs are constantly in the crosshairs of the current political party in power that label them entitlements. My younger years, I faced poverty. I lived in poverty. I was finally able to come out of that poverty through a good education. My dad was the parish organist for our Roman Catholic Church, and I always say he made a deal with the devil, and the Catholic Church, the priest, paid for our education, and that's how I was able to receive a private school education, a public school, and I'm very, very thankful for that. So we received that quality education, and my husband and I, Glenn, we just purchased our very first home, and we are, I guess you could say, we're finally making it. Many Pennsylvanians, however, are not that lucky. They are kept down by the same system that claims to pull them up and out of poverty. We have a broken system, and now's the time to fix it. That system so everyone can benefit from it and not just the wealthy few. Explain to me how a billionaire was given taxpayer money to do upgrades on his private business, yet we can't have universal health care, and we can't have great state-of-the-art affordable health or education. Now we can sit and talk about education, healthcare, environment, gun rights, gun control, and taxation. However, I think we have bigger fish to fry. Sometimes I think I'm living in 1950 and not 2018. Pennsylvania like the country as a whole, is becoming more diverse every single year. But according to recent studies, the state is failing its minority residents, ensuring that they don't succeed. Currently, Pennsylvania is ranked 32nd out of 50. It's kind of abysmal when you think about it. When we break down, Pennsylvania performed poorly across all demographics, but it was far worse for those in the Black and African American communities and Latino communities. Pennsylvania ranked 32 in how children in the Black and African American communities and 48th in how Latino children perform. Black and African American and Latino are growing more than any other group here in Pennsylvania. This group are starting more businesses and hiring more Pennsylvanians. Both of these groups are greatly contributing to the Pennsylvania economy, and yet we are shortchanging them around every turn. So what does this mean? This means that Pennsylvania must start to increase its investment in the Black and African American communities before it's too late. Pennsylvania should be in the top 10, not in 32nd place. We are underperforming and failing our communities. We do not have high poverty rates or high unemployment, so why is this performing so terrible? It's because we don't invest in education. Here in Pennsylvania, we are underfunding the Black and African American communities. As we, as future and current legislators, need to commit to pass legislation that would properly fund our educational institutions and target those communities that have been underfunded for so long. If we would commit to funding pre-K education to 100%, that would be a huge game change in these communities. Pennsylvania currently only funds pre-K for 1/3 of the population. Can you guess which third? If we invest in education, you will see our youth do better in school. Chances of coming out of poverty will rise. Not only must we protect our education, but we must ensure that Pennsylvanians have access to affordable health care. When people have access to health care, they perform better, and reading, they actually have higher reading skills. We as a community must actively pursue changes in the way our communities are policed. Members of the Black and African American communities are twice as likely to be arrested and almost 4 times as likely as to experience some kind of aggressive force. These communities make up an overwhelming majority of the prison population. For example, in 2014, the population of Pennsylvania was 10.6%, yet 48% was in prison. We can do better, and we will do better. We must invest in community policing. We must hire officers from the communities for which they serve. We need to have our officers represent the communities they serve. The officers need to be from the community, develop relationships in the community, and must take our communities to a safer place without causing harm in the communities. I know I'm running out of time. The other thing we must do, we must raise our minimum wage. $7.25 is just, it's terrible. We need to raise the wage. We need to have better health care. We need to do all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to take up any more time. So again, Mike Wascovich.